Greetings, Jedi traders. David here of TradingFibs.com to bring you the weekly technical momentum outlook for week 7. Week 7, starting February 13, 2017. As always, please seek financial advisor and trading with your money, as these videos are for educational purposes only to support your knowledge in the market. See what's going through my head on any given week. Always make sure you have a solid trading plan and always manage your stop when placing a trade. Relentless is the word of the week. The indices roaring to new highs 3 out of those 5 trading days in week 6, which you can capture here in the week 6 recap. 3 out of 5 trading days. No regard to even entertaining the possibility of any self-correction. A pattern that we've been so accustomed to, traders, that it bewilders many, and with caution in the chase at the highs. With 2017 not really giving more than 1% move in the ES on a daily basis, finally breaking out on Thursday to lead the indices higher was clearly making week 6 another historical week for 2017. Each week, guys, I point to the possible catalyst that might spawn a move in either direction, and yet another week of simply grinding in the AM sessions to eventually some breakout can even lead the intraday technical trader to question, is this the day we pull back? I simply can't stress enough to leave that bias at the door. Watch the charts in front of you and watch for that highest probability setup that we look for each day on an intraday basis. On a range chart, minute chart, whatever you're watching, 5144 cloud with the Heiken Ashi bars to keep you in trend, and a trade management strategy that will keep you in the runaway market. We're only hoping for that each day. What can I say, guys? Article after article, tweet after tweet, post after post, the common thread out there that we can't push this market any higher becomes the daunting overall picture. Reminds me of that ever-looming year 2000 where the world was going to fall apart, planes were going to fall out of the sky. We all seem to have survived. If I had to subscribe to that similar thinking back in November 2016, I'd still be sitting on the sidelines. Now, don't get me wrong, I am as ready as anybody else for this market to pull back, close out some open gaps below that we'll show here today, and reset itself to move even higher. However, it's not for me to guess the why we are here at these highs, but simply to be ready and for both directions. That is the benefit of the intraday trader. All right, so let's jump into week 6 as we take a look at the week 6 recap, where you can capture some of those charts, some of those links, some of those videos there that we looked throughout the week. But really, it was about some highlighted charts there. Again, Globex session, for example, here on the 6E, nice move to the downside. Here we go, price action, solid Heiken Ashi bars downside with the 5144 underneath the VWAP, everything in sync. Nice move. Again, Globex session, no way indicative of where the U.S. regular trading hour sessions would run as they did to the upside. Price action here on the ES. Again, great trade management to show you here. Price action, cloud above the VWAP, 5144, H8 bars. I know, a little bit hanging tails sometimes can get you, but it's all about remaining in the trend. Anywhere up here makes for a good case for an exit. Taking a look here at the 6J. Again, a nice Again, tough to sometimes stay in that trend where you have price action showing 5144, still above the VWAP, moving sideways. But then again, if you're bailed out, it's okay to get back in as long as the trend is holding up. And another nice move here in the U.S. regular trading hours. All right, so let's jump into some of those charts. Let's see where we are currently on the bigger picture as daily gaps. That's right, daily gaps continue to show us pushing upside here as we see 20K here. Open gaps remain below on the YM all the way down to 20, 21, 25 on the Q, 51, 21, 25, and here on the ES nearest open gaps 92 and 79.75. What does that mean? Well, with 100% guarantee, price action eventually at some point will push down here to these 1860.75. We keep these open as a reminder that markets do tend and will tend to pull back, especially on the regular trading hours, to eventually with 100% close these out. I'm not saying it's going to happen next week. I'm just saying at some point, eventually, whether it's next week, 2 weeks, a month, 5 years on down the road, the market will retrace, close these out. Eventually, you can see the closer term picture of all the way back down to 2094 is a very good reality check, since this is the move that we've had since November. So I would assume that at some point in the near proximity, we would come back and do a pullback to finish unclosed business. All right, so there we are on the daily gaps. Keep those in mind, but that's now where we are technically. Momentum upside in the drive. We continue to move upside here, as we could see on the NQ price action, still continuing to push upside on the daily picture. 52.34, 52.34. When you take a look at the bigger picture, you got to jump down to the smaller picture to see where it fits inside the bigger picture, and you continue to come down in time frame. So we'll go ahead, show you where we are on the daily 4-hour chart, and then on the indices, we'll show you where we are on the intradays, both 60-minute and 15-minute charts. So here we are, NQ holding up here at the highs, 52.34. Again, you'll want to look downside back to the resistance. We noticed the 50 and the 200 down here, all the way back down to 46.87 is major support resistance, but we're not ready to get there. We'll have to deal with some intraday smaller numbers, including, and first and foremost, 5,000 would be our first major support resistance if 52.34 holds the line. But again, we'll look to 51.56 as our first level of support, as it was resistance on the upside, all the way back down to 43.75. Well, before we get down to numbers like those, we'll want to look at the daily big pick. As we can see on a range chart, also 52.34. Big picture, we still holding above that 51.44. As we watch on the NQ, the 50, watching the 50 downside for our first possible moving average, we also look to the 144 EMA cloud as well. But big picture momentum clearly in an uptrend. Again, both on a range chart and a 4-hour chart, we'll look down to 5,000 as our first major support resistance. Yes, still pocket of window to push up higher. So we go to the 60-minute and the 15-minute chart as we start out to roll out the week. We'll be looking up to 52.34 once again here on the 15-minute chart. The 15-minute charts will reset themselves both intraday. So each morning on the morning pre-outlook, we'll see where those numbers have changed overnight. So you'll want to stay tuned and keep eye out for those levels and those numbers. But big picture for the week, we still upside here at the 52.34 with some caution. Is this the highs? I can't tell you. I can only tell you that the momentum continues to push upside, and we'll watch those intraday levels as well. So big picture NQ 52.34. We do have room to move up to 52.73, but we'll keep an eye on that 60-minute chart and the 15-minute chart, as each day we can still have levels to the upside as these reset themselves. But overall, HA bars holding in trend with some serious resistance up here. All right, taking a look at the YM, let's jump to the ES first, daily ES and 4-hour, as 23.1250 seems to be the line in the sand here. 23.43 upside, before that 23.28 here on the ES, as well as our next reversal, which would be up here at 23.35. So all within a zone of resistance upside, but 5200 down here. We'll watch 2250 as a possible resistance on the daily to come back and find support here. But before we get there, again, bigger picture, 2312 to 2250 is seen here on the 4-hour chart as a smaller range, which tends to run from support to resistance with a possible push upside and then eventually a breakdown back downside. HA bar still holding here off the major support 22.81. So if we hold here at 23.12, we'll look back downside to 22.81 all the way back down to 22.50 with a possible line in the sand here of the 50 EMA. But before we get there, we look at the ES on both an ADX and see where we are. ES again, there's that 23.12 with the 22.81 downside. 51.44 EMA cloud upside. As we hold upside, that gives me the bigger picture of uptrend, but a little concern here on the ADX as it holds downside here. A directional movement index, again, just another market internal. If you're watching that for something that you don't intraday, especially comes handy with maybe the crude or the gold or maybe the yen or the euro. As price action continues to move upside here, we take a look at the ADX. We'll take a look at both the 60-minute and the 15-minute as we see here holding upside at 23.1250. Again, when I find that being hit on numerous charts, I kind of give raised caution and say maybe this is the end, but we'll watch the ES as she continues to hold resistance here. Again, we hit that 23.15. We'll watch for the 15-minute chart on the Sunday open overnight Globex and see where we are Monday AM session. But right now, line in the sand right here, 23.1250. Watch for 22.96 back downside and any of our 15-minute chart levels down here, 23.08 down to 23.04. All right, taking a look at the YM on the big picture on the daily and the 4-hour. Here we go, daily up 23.13 as we hold at the highs here on the 4-hour chart. Again, wider range here on the YM from 3.13 down to 19.688. So a smaller pocket here. If we hold here, come back down, we'll look to 20,000. Again, major support resistance on both charts. But before we get down to 688, we'll want to watch for the 50 SMA as well as 19,844. But before we get to even those, let's take a look at the smaller numbers here on the YM. ADX on the YM still holding upside as we reach up to that 40 level. Price action on the YM here. H8 bars on the range chart still in trend, 51.44. So don't fight the trend here on the chart. Says price action still has 313 and 391 as levels of resistance upside. Momentum index still moving up. Let's take a look at the 60 and the 15-minute as again we're at the highs. We'll want to watch for, if we hold here, resistance 234. Watch for the pullback to 195 down to 156 before we roll down to 2007.8 here on the 60-minute chart, all the way back down to 20K, which would be the resistance after support, which would be support after resistance for some time. All right, looking across the indices, that's our big picture. Let's take a quick pick at the key futures markets that we watch every day on the screen share here. Crude again holding in that range. Bigger picture, 50 up to 56. We haven't been able to reach that 56. As we see here on the daily gaps on the crude, opening up a wide open gap to 53.21. We might just have to close that out before we even get up here. We got an open gap up here still at 55.41. So crude holding upside here. There we go. Crude 56.25 resistance upside here. But before then, 54.69 seems to be a reality. If we can get up there again, if we pull back, watch for major support resistance here at 53.13, which would line up with around that daily gap. So crude most likely still in an uptrend, could possibly close that out, find that support resistance before it moves higher, all the way back down to 51.56 as we hold inside this range. Taking a look at the gold as we hold in between the 50 and the 200 on a daily. Major support resistance here at 1250, which happens to be the resistance here on the 4-hour chart. Momentum continues to hold upside, 51.44. Major support resistance down here at 1218. So big picture is gold bouncing off the support here, 1187.50. I have to give it a little bit more room, possibly up to 1250. Watch that 200 SMA in the days to come. Taking a look at the 6J yen is price action really chugging at the bottom here around the 50 MA. Major support resistance, add 200 up here at 93.75. Before we get up there, 89.06 would be the resistance. But Again, yen still falling here. Price action most likely maybe back down to 87.50 to find support. That might be the current technical more momentum probability to the downside. All right, taking a look at the let's take a look at the 6E. 6E again, big picture here, sitting here, 50 EMA as well as the 200 SMA. Finding support here at major support resistance. Downside here, $1.49. But 50 MA holding. I got to give the level of support here as price action off the oversold and reversal. If we break upside above $1.06, I'll be looking to $1.74 as that would be the major support resistance. Watch the 200 SMA on the daily as well. So lots of room to move back upside. Again, we'll have to watch the U.S. indices in the week to come. So what brings up the week to come as far as things to watch out for? Well, taking a look at the economic calendar, I could surely make the case that we head higher in week 7 with momentum clearly holding the course. Intraday pullbacks being bought right back up to close upside or flat. However, on the economic front for week 7, I walk tepidly in the first half of the week, awaiting the reaction towards the latter part of the week. Monday, light on the economic front, followed by Tuesday and Wednesday. Chair Janet Yellen on both Tuesday and Wednesday with her posse of Fed speakers throughout the week, which can light up those algos searching for any keyword that might be dropped in hints of rate hikes for 2017. Now, let's throw in the VIX there for the February 15 strike calls, looking at that open interest between 21 and 23, including 15 to 17, which might just what the market needs for a pullback at this point. So keep an eye out there for Wednesday. Don't want those open interests to go unnoticed. So currently the bottom line, technical probability remains and continues at this point to lead us higher, but I regard this with extreme caution on the bigger pick. In my humble opinion, if all things remain constant, nothing occurs to shake things up downside as stated over the last several weeks. But at this point, it won't take much, as I have stated. I state this with caution as seen in the charts today that we are at a technical momentum decision time as we have been week after week based on my strategy that puts price action in a stall at these levels. I will be ready to alert all in my change of trend or continued movement upside through social media and the daily outlook. For those of you holding on to those indices, ETFs, or long-term holders, different rules may apply as quarterly rebalancing is my preference for managing such markets as the Jason Kelly newsletter. You might want to check him out also on his Jason Kelly YouTube channel where he goes over these strategies. Option to always move the trailing stops to key MML, Fibonacci, or moving average levels can lock in more profit if and when a pullback may occur. Hey guys, I also want to give a shout out to Chat with Traders. Great interviews where you can find not only strategies but bigger pick on trading psychology as well as those new to trading. Great interviews on what it takes to become a proficient and long-term trader. That's Chat with Traders on his YouTube channel as well. All right, that concludes an insight in the technical momentum outlook for week 7 coming up in key futures market. Feel free to stop by at tradingfibs.com or any of my social media outlets to obtain more information. My trading mantra of one simple strategy, any market, any chart, any time frame will keep you disciplined. You can find me every day on Twitter at TradingFibs. And as always, I leave the crystal ball to the experts. I only watch what's in front of me and on my charts. And as always, leave your bias at the door when trading. Hey guys, for those of you that are interested in joining us in our community of like-minded traders seeking highest probability setups, feel free to email me, david@tradingfibs.com. You may join us on any Thursday or Friday to view the live chart setups as they happen in the trading day. Have yourselves a Blue Zone week wherever you may be. Good day, good night, and good trading to ya.